country lanes and coastal plains, endless views that we're passing through, making our way to a distant place, just us two, somewhere new.
Hello, welcome back to the vlog. You join me setting off on a bit of a journey, not a massive one. I'm over in, for those that don't know, I'm over in Lancashire. I don't want to say exactly where, but roughly bang on in between Preston and Lancaster, which is probably the best way to describe it. So I'm heading over to the northeast this morning. The reason why I'm vlogging this is because I'm going in the Maxus T90 EV pickup, so it's full electric. I did say that I'd do a review of this, and I thought this is a good little tester to show you what it can and can't do, and how it helps me out and doesn't help me out in my day-to-day life, carrying out my role as a heating engineer. So it's not a this vlog is not a review. What this is just to show you, literally, without any little I'm not doing any fancy little range tests. I've literally charged this car up last night, jumped in it. I'm going to set off, do my job, and show you what the crack is with an EV. There'll be none of this faffing about charging up. You know, when you see most people review EVs, they stand next to the charger, faffing about before they plug it in. Just all I do is I get to the charger, plug it in, contactless card, it starts charging. There's no drama with it. I don't understand how people struggle with it so much. The beauty of it is every morning when I get in this, it's full. It's like your phone. Last thing at night before you go to bed, plug your phone in, get up in the morning, it's full. Same with the car. Get home, plug it in, wake up in the morning, it's full. There's no faffing about filling up with diesel or anything like that. Has its limitations though. And as long as you plan in your mind when it suits and when it doesn't suit, you're all right. But there's benefits, huge benefits. The first one being, this thing today has cost me £4 to charge up, right? So I took a picture, and I'll probably drop it into the video, of the range, the expected range this car's got. Now, as we all know, that ain't real world. I think this thing was saying 260 mile range. There's no way it's going to do 260 miles. It does do 260 miles. So just let this clown out. It does do 260 miles if you're pottering about, you know, knocking about cities and towns, a little bit of A-road work, in nice weather, it'll do 260 miles. When you're doing a journey like what I'm doing today, which is 95% motorway, so 70 mile an hour driving, you ain't getting anywhere near that. It'll probably do today, I reckon, with this weather, so we're probably about 10 degrees Celsius, raining, it'll probably do 200 mile, which is great. I think that's brilliant. On my sat nav now it says 140 miles, so it's looking like a 280 mile day, so I will have to charge today. But I'll show you how I go about that. Anyway, back to the benefits. So £4. So I'm going to get 200 miles off £4 of electric, £4 of cost. So I'll add all the costs up, because when I do charge on the road, it costs a chunk more. So I've got to factor that in as well on a journey like what I'm doing today. Anyway, I'll crack on with the first bit of the journey, and I'll probably dip in and do a few little, as I think of things to say about living with an EV. I'll do a bit of recording. Right, I thought I'd just tell you how I've ended up in this Maxus, because obviously I've got it. Why did I get it? I do, in my job, at the moment it's not too bad because a lot of our contracts are Lancashire based, but historically, I could be doing 40,000 miles a year or more. And I think the biggest year was 50,000 miles, because we do cover the entirety of the UK and Ireland itself and the Channel Islands, Isle of Man as well. So I could be, one day I could be at John O'Groats, the next day I could be at Land's End, East Coast, West Coast, everywhere. So I was flying about the country. So I've always had good quality, comfortable cars, from Volvo Estates, my Ford Ranger pickup I've currently got, really high spec vans, Mercedes Vito Sports, always automatic, don't have a manual. I don't understand why you'd buy a manual unless you're doing track days or something like that, or you're an enthusiast. Why you want to faff about changing gear, I don't get it. Put it in D and it's go and stop, isn't it? You've got your accelerator pedal and your brake pedal. Why you want to faff about with a gear stick, I do not know. So yeah, I've always had automatics, always had leather seats, always had climate control, sat nav the lot. Because of the mileage I'm doing, I'm in my car all day. It's got to be right. And I've ended up with a Chinese pickup, right? And the build quality is pants. That's the only way I can describe it. So, and I wouldn't choose something that is pants unless there's a good reason behind it. So I'll tell you the story. So, as you're all aware, we had COVID, van prices, pickup prices, availability of cars just went crazy. I remember my Mercedes, I bought in 2019, I bought a brand new Mercedes, well, we bought, me and my brother bought one each. We got two brand new Mercedes Vito Sports, top spec, everything on them. Most powerful one you can get, automatic gearbox, 6 seats, so they were the crew cab version. And we paid £23,500 plus VAT, right? When you look at van prices now, they're 100% more expensive, right? So the same vehicle is 50 grand now. So in 2019, that's what we paid for our vehicles. So obviously, when we were replacing them, because I always replace my vehicles when they're 2 or 3 years old because of the mileage, because I'm getting towards 100,000 miles by that stage. I'm looking at these vans like the Transit, what do you call them? Customs crew cabs. I'm looking at pickup trucks, things like that, and they're just mega money. So I kept my Ranger for a third year, which, like I say, is unusual because it would tip me over the 100,000 mile mark, which obviously sends you outside of manufacturers' warranties, etc. But I thought, I'm going to risk it, you know, for the sake of spending an extra 25 grand for the same vehicle. Just risk it. If it blows up, I'll put a new engine in it. That was my thought process. But I'm always looking at lease deals, because there's often these little gems that come up, these little cheap deals for various reasons. Anyway, so it's 2024 now, end of 2023, December, I think it was early December, maybe 10th of December. This lease deal popped up on these Maxus EV pickups. And I looked at it and I thought, someone's made a mistake there. That cannot be right. Okay, so it was a brand new car, brand new Maxus vehicle, 2-year lease deal, 15,000 miles a year allowance, so I can do 15,000 miles a year. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You do 30, 40,000 miles a year, that's not enough. I'll come on to that. 15,000 mile a year allowance, brand new car, no deposit, right? £100 a month plus VAT. That's all I pay for this. And I looked at it, I thought, there is no way that's right. It's a misprint. Someone's made a mistake. So I filled the form in rapid, put all my details in, applied for it. Next day, a guy emailed me back, sorted. It's ordered, right? It's going to be delivered in 2 weeks. No, it wasn't 2 weeks. It was post-Christmas, wasn't it? So he's in the No, it was at the end of January I got it. So ordered it in December, end of January it came. It's going to be here in 2 months. And I thought, there's no way this is going to rock up. Not at that price. So, anyway, end of January, it turned up. So this Maxus truck turned up. I'd done a bit of research on them. I'd worked out the range they could do, you know. I knew we were looking at 180 to 200 miles range, not the estimated 250. And I thought to myself, well, on my short days, and what I call a short day is just 6 or 7 site visits around Lancashire, 100 miles, 150 mile day, perfect. It'll work perfectly. It'll keep the mileage off my Ranger. Let's have a do. At that price, I'll let it sit on the drive and use it once a month for going to the tip. It's the same price as my mobile phone contract. So yeah, that's how I ended up with this car. Now, I knew it wasn't going to be comfortable. I knew the build quality wasn't going to be great. It's not the most desirable car. I'll show you the outside of it, and a quick overview. But there's loads of reviews on these cars online, and I just thought I'm going to get it as a van. It's just a rough and tough little van. I can chuck my tools in the load bed at the back, my toolbox, etc., and do my site surveys. It'll do the job. So yeah. That's how I ended up in it, because it is for nothing. This is the cheapest vehicle I have ever owned. Yes, it's got its limitations, but at that price, no brainer. I've now done 15,000 miles in it since February, and we are in October, right? So I'm going to probably double the mileage on my allowance, but it's only 10 pence a mile excess mileage charge, so I'll just pay it. It's still a mega cheap vehicle, and then as I say, the actual run costs on it, your servicing is for nothing. There's nothing to service on them apart from brakes, and then I think the rear diff needs the oil changing in it. I think it's 18,000 miles to change the oil in the rear diff. I won't use the brakes on it in the whole life I've got it, because it's got regenerative braking, so the brake pads will never wear out. Insurance isn't bad. All insurance is expensive now, but run costs are mega cheap. So anyway, that section's on how I've ended up with it. I'll talk about run costs in another little section, because I'm just going to come off the motorway now and get onto the A69, which is where we cut across towards Blythe. Okay. Right, so I'm just leaving the job in Blythe, northeast of England. I'll just put it in my sat nav now. So it's 142 miles to get home, and I have an estimated 118 miles range. So obviously I'm going to have to charge. So yeah, I drove straight here, 70 mile an hour all the way here. I've done my job. I didn't do any filming in there, but like I say, this is about the range of this car and how I live with it. So yeah, we're cracking on back now. I've got 2 options for superchargers. I've got a McDonald's one, which is, I can't remember which make they are, but they're easy to use, but they cost like 79p a kilowatt. Whereas T-Bay services, where I stopped at on the way out for a brew, their charges are mint, and they're only 63p a kilowatt, so quite a chunk cheaper. So yeah, I've probably got a T-Bay, and then I'll show you plugging in there and how easy it is, and not as dramatic as what all the drama queens make out. Okie doke. Right, the next question is, what's this thing like to drive? Not very good. No, that's not 100% true. I'll give you the pros and the cons. So, if you've never driven an EV before, all I can say is they're brilliant, right? As far as how easy they are to drive and how can I describe it? I don't know, just the smoothness and the no. Basically, what it is yeah, you drive them one-footed almost. So, like when you were a kid and you drove a go-kart, when you put your foot down, it goes faster, and when you let it off, it goes all the way to almost stopping. Just with one foot, you don't actually need to use the brake. There's 100% torque from the word go. So obviously when you're in an internal combustion engine or an ICE car as they're known, you have variable power or variable torque depending where they are in the rev range. So you'll all have experienced this. You know, a diesel car, a turbocharged car, when you first set off, you have a certain amount of power and torque, and when you get to a certain rev range, you get to that sweet spot where you've got the most power and torque. So it varies as you're going through the gears. You know, your head goes back at a certain point when you're accelerating. With an EV, it's 100% straight away. So that means that from the traffic lights, from a dead stop, they just go like Billy-O, go like stink from the word go. Even this thing, when you're talking about EVs, you know, you've got your Tesla Model S Plaids are probably or Plaid, I don't know how you pronounce it, but they're the most powerful 1,000 horsepower thing, all the way down to this, which is like on a level with like a Nissan Leaf or something like that. But they've still got loads of power and torque from the get-go. So off the line, this thing, where I could be sat next to like a Golf GTI and a 0 to, let's say, 20 miles an hour, this is on a par with a performance car. Don't get me wrong, when you get above 20, 30 miles an hour, it drops off because it is a big, heavy thing with not the biggest motor. Anyway, all I'm getting at is round town, round cities, they're a dream to drive. Just so smooth, power straight off the line. Again, at speed, it's fine. The performance it has is good. What lets this thing down is the chassis and the suspension. It's like a 1989 Toyota Hilux. It's the only way to describe it. It's like it's built on two girders with some rigid leaf springs at the back and an attempt at suspension on the front. It isn't good. It's got a bounce to it, like you probably see with the camera. It's got a bit of a rattle. It's all right. You get what you pay for. You know, I'm paying £100 a month for this thing. I did not expect a Bentley levels of comfort. You know, I don't know. As far as modern cars go, it's poor. It's there or thereabouts with like a Citroen Berlingo van. So yeah, that's all I can say on it. Features wise, it's got aircon, it's got Apple CarPlay. You know, which to my mind, if you order a car without Apple CarPlay and air conditioning in 2024, you're a moron. Why would you do it? You know, they're not really optional extras. They should come as standard. So yeah, it's got all that. The seats are faux leather. You know, the plastic, some sort of plastic seat. They're all right. But yeah, if I'd have paid full list price for this, I'd be absolutely gutted. You know, the build quality's poor, but for the price, £100 a month plus VAT, it's a win. It really is, and I can cope with it. I don't get in the morning and think, oh my god, I've got to spend the day in this thing. It's all right, but when I get in my Ranger or my wife's got an Audi, it's miles apart from cars like that. But it's all right. You know, £100 a month, you can cope with. You know, a bit lower spec and a bit lower build quality. But yeah, there you go. That's what it's like. All I'd say is, if you don't buy one of these with your own cash. If you get a good lease deal, fair enough. But I would not buy one. Okay. Right, I've just pulled up at Southway Services. I'm going to top the car off, put a bit of charge in. It's got 61 miles range left, and I've literally got 60 miles to get home. And that's all from the original charge this morning. So I've gone all the way up to Blythe, all the way back to here. And like I say, it was always the plan to do a charge. It's about lunchtime now, so I stopped for my lunch anyway. Yeah, I've just backed up to this charger, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is. I'm just going to jump out and do it. I've not even looked. I don't know how to do it, but normally it's plug your car in, tap your contactless, done. Or contactless, plug it in. So when I get there, I'll have a quick look. But I'm just going to jump out and do it. Because like I say, on a lot of car reviews, they faff about, you know, claiming it's mega hard, but it ain't. It's dead easy. But watch me make a fool of myself now. It'll suddenly become hard. Let's go. Done. That's it. Simple as that. It's charging. Yeah, don't be fooled. It ain't that hard. My car is charging up now. Yeah, looking at it. Done. How long did that take? Have a look back. Probably about 10 or 15 seconds. Yeah, I'm going to go in now, get a sandwich, grab a brew. Probably need 10 minutes, I reckon. 10 or 15 minutes on this. What kilowatts is this? I think this is up to like 100 kilowatts, but this car will I think it'll only take about 50 kilowatts an hour. That's power going in. So anyway, we'll see. So yeah, don't believe the myths. Right, so this is how we unplug it. And just so you can see, I think you can see there, 23 minutes I've put it on charge for, and it has taken me exactly to 50%. So there you go, that's going to give me somewhere in the region of 120 mile. Unplug it, bang that back in there, plug my caps back in, and that's it, job done. No issue whatsoever. Okay, so I'll carry on my way. Tell you what, just whilst you're there, I'll just turn her on. We'll tell you exactly what mileage estimated range I've got off that 20-minute charge. 130 mile. So there you go. It's chucked another 60 mile on it in 20 minutes. So that's enough to get home and drive about all evening, dropping the kids off at sports stuff. So yeah, there you go. That's an EV. Right, so as you saw there, that's how hard it is to charge an electric car. 10 seconds of a job to plug her in. 20 minutes to take me up to 50% charge. So yeah, that's it's not that hard. It really isn't, and they're not that hard to live with. And if you're going to put it on a scale of who would suit an electric car and who wouldn't, you know, you'd start with your people that work in one place of work, you know, 20, 30 mile commute. They're ideal candidates. They will never need to charge on the road. Every morning when they wake up, their car will be full. It'll have been charged up on a cheap rate, a cheap night tariff, so it'll be mega cheap to run. They're like your bang on obvious EV contenders. Then you've got the ones that'll do slightly variable mileage a day. You know, they might work in one place of work but do site visits or work in a few different locations. And then you've got your travelling salesman types who'll do more mileage, you know, because they're in different locations every day. And then you've got somebody like me who does mega mileage. My days vary so much. Sometimes I've got to be reactive. You know, I might have to shoot up to the northeast and then get all the way back down to Manchester and then home. So I'm like your last in line, really, to suit getting an EV. And like I say, some of my days, it doesn't suit. You know, if I've got to go to London, then Oxford, then Wales, then home, EV isn't going to be my choice of weapon. I will be going in an ICE car, an internal combustion engine car. But for 80 to 90% of my work, I'll take the EV. and it's fine. It's like I say, today's been a longer drive, and I've had 20 to 25 minutes of charging, but that I worked that into my day, and it worked well. I literally had a sandwich and a brew, you know, a usual sort of break that you want to do in the day. So yeah, if I had a normal job where I was commuting to one place of work, even if it was a proper commute, you know, an hour drive each way, EV all the way. My electric tariff, can't remember which, it's an Octopus tariff. I think I pay 23 pence a kilowatt during the day, and then I have 4 hours at night at 5 pence a kilowatt. So I will set my charger to run for those 4 hours every night. So regardless of whether the car's full or not, I'll plug it in when I get home. The charger will start at 12:30 in the morning and run till 4:30 in the morning. And yeah, so to fill this car from empty to full, it costs about £4, and that's it. So it's mega cheap. Like I say, today I will have had that 25 minutes on the supercharger, which I think was 75p a kilowatt, because that one was quite expensive. The one at T-Bay this morning that I just showed you quickly was down at 63 pence a kilowatt, so that was reasonable for on the road. So I don't know, without doing the maths, which I'll do. I'll put it on the screen exactly what this journey cost. But it'll be cheap, you know. It might be 10 or 15 quid to do this journey today. So there you go. Right, so I'm just pulling up my drive. That's the day done. That is a day in the life with an EV pickup truck. So the stats, let me just get my camera off here and we'll have a look. So how far have we done? Let's have a look. I'll turn you around. Can you see that? Yeah. So the trip, 302 miles altogether. I currently have 32 miles range remaining. What happened was I got called to a job on the way back, which added a bit onto my day. It was just a heat pump that had gone down, but it wasn't a problem. I sorted it. Yeah, so I'll just show you the car itself, actually, because I don't think I've done a good job at that. So this is it. That is the Maxus pickup. That is what we've been in all day. Like we say, it's a 23 plate. It's a big old thing, a great big lump. 88 kilowatt hour battery. It's about 200 horsepower. You can carry a ton in the back, although I wouldn't want to put a ton in the back, because like I say, the chassis itself is shocking.